Okay, that was a pretty laborious process, honestly. I don't know if that's something I would recommend with one person. I thought it would be a lot easier than it ended up being. Anyway, motor's now in, so it's installed on the motor mounts. So the next challenge is plumbing all of the coolant stuff to the radiator and getting the fuel stuff all mounted up. But that should be pretty simple. So really, the way this works, and honestly, motorcycle fuel or cooling systems are way more complicated to me. It took me a while to understand. There is, this is a 1-inch out here on the radiator. That goes to the water pump. This water pump inlet right here. There's a water pump out right here. This goes to the engine. And part of this, there's like a manifold thing, I guess, that bleeds some of it off to, this is an oil cooler. It's right next to the oil filter. So this is where it comes in. Half of it, not half, probably most of it goes to the engine, and then you have some of it go to this oil cooler, and then you're gonna have a hot line that goes back to the radiator. On the back, on the top, coming out of the cylinder head, this is the other end where the thermostat goes. So basically, this thermostat sits right here. So normally on the actual bike, there's one line that is before the thermostat. So that is always running back to the radiator. Basically that was deleted. Here you see the person who had the car before me just put a bolt in that. And then the other end here, this is a 1-inch line, or I think this is a 3/4 inch line, I'm not sure. But that goes back to the radiator. So basically there's one cold line coming out of the radiator, and that goes straight to the water pump. And then there's gonna be 2 returns that are hot. So one is from the oil cooler and one is from the thermostat right here. So what we're probably gonna do is I'm gonna switch this out for, I talked before about this 12 AN conversion. So that converts the thermostat housing to an AN fitting, so I can run it straight to the radiator. And then the this is probably where I'm going to hook up the water temp sensor. So the Micron has a M10 water temp sensor. So I'm probably going to buy a little like fitting thing so that I can plug in an M10 fitting into this hose right here. And then that should give us live temperature readings of the water even when the thermostat's closed. Because you can see here, I don't know if you really can, but in the back there, this is running even when the thermostat's closed here. So this side is only hot whenever the thermostat's open. So. Okay, some time has passed. I've put the rear axle in, obviously y'all have seen me do that before. And now the front axle is in as well. The next step, I'm going to connect the brake lines. So we have some new brake lines, and I'm going to relocate the bias control valve to closer up here so that it's not within my reach, which keeps me within A-class rules. So yeah. All right, so I didn't show it, but I got my Amazon special overflow tank right here. It's pretty sturdy. I went ahead and just installed it by using another one of these like tube clamp brackets and then just using a hose clamp, and it's cinched down like super tight. Like I can shake the whole chassis just by grabbing that thing. So yeah. Next I'm gonna hook it up to the radiator cap. Okay, so after a day, all of this is finally done. Got a 1-inch line running to the water pump. Water pump pumps engine up here into the engine. Here it comes into the water cooler. Have an 8AN line that comes up and around and comes into the hot side of the radiator. You also have this 12AN line here that comes up off the thermostat and runs to the hot side of the radiator. We have our little coolant temperature sensor here that's wired in before the thermostat. And then we have our overflow tank right here. So everything's wired up now. We're moving on to the fuel system. Okay, so I had already mounted up the switches on the dash with the Micron. The issue was the switches interfered with the injection, so now I gotta drill more holes higher up, so fun. Okay guys, so today is Sunday. Obviously did not make it to RPM like I had wanted to. The car wasn't ready in time. There's multiple reasons why, but you'll notice filled up the whole cooling system with water. I actually need to cap it off. Managed to get all the chassis harness done. I didn't film any of this stuff because I honestly think it's really boring and tedious to do, and there was a lot of referencing to my phone anyway. I normally use my phone to record, and so I had to reference wiring diagrams and stuff a lot anyway. So all the chassis harness is now complete. The engine's back in the car. The fuel is all plumbed up. Everything works well. The only thing is I went and I bought a new Schoenfeld header. Well, not new. I bought this used Schoenfeld header, and I was told when I bought it, it was, a Suzuki or Yamaha header. So the Suzukis, the Yamahas, and the Hondas, from what I can tell, all have the same spacing as far as the exhaust manifold, and the flanges are all the same space, but the orientation of those flanges is not the same from company to company. So you can see here, like the orientation of these flanges, it's like down and then up and then two that way. Anyway, so that header only fits an all black Yamaha motor, and basically it will not fit a Gixxer motor, which is what I have. So I just didn't know that. A lot of the headers are just interchangeable because the flanges are not like a solid flange that's welded on. It's like this, where you have these individual flanges that sit on the primaries and they go in. Anyway, my mistake. I didn't know that. I don't know if the guy that sold it to me even knew that, but it is what it is. So that's listed for sale. If you're on the Everything Micro 600's Facebook pages or stuff like that, you can find it for sale. You can buy it if you want. I'll ship it to you. But it's currently listed for $400. Send me an offer on Facebook if you want to send me an offer, and I'll look at it. So anyway, I found another header, another Schoenfeld header that's meant for a Suzuki. So that will be going on. I'm going to be using that muffler, or I think he's actually selling it to me with the muffler. So anyway, that'll be figured out here soon. So it's probably going to be another week or two until we're actually able to race this thing. But I will show you guys that it runs. So the fuel pump controller's hooked up. So the fuel pump controller has a 3-second prime. So you're gonna have to cycle the pump a couple times. Oh. Duh. Open the shut off. I don't know what I'm doing, sorry. See there, we're at about 55, 60 PSI. Got our voltage on, and then this thing should just crank up. It's cold. Doesn't like to idle when it's cold. But yeah, so really the only thing now, I'm struggling getting this Micron to actually output the RPM signal, and I have this water temp signal as well that comes off here. This leaks. You can actually tell there is some water leaking out there, so that's my bad. I just need to put some PTFE tape on this fitting, and then it shouldn't leak anymore. But yeah, it's getting closer. You'll see, a lot of this stuff the last week, I didn't do a great job videoing and stuff because I was mainly just in a rush trying to get the thing ready. And ultimately it didn't matter anyway because I wasn't able to get it ready in time. But I was rushing a lot. A lot of stuff I didn't, do a good job documenting, the brake lines, all that stuff, all of the routing of the fuel lines and figuring out the wiring and stuff. But it's all here. So what I'm gonna do now is take apart all the fuel system, run WD-40 through all the stuff, because it's probably gonna be 2 weeks until we race this thing. And I'm gonna try and do a much better job of keeping these injectors clean and fresh so that we don't run into the same issues of gumming up the injectors and needing to buy new ones all the time. So that's pretty much it. It's probably gonna be a week before we're able to get this new header on the car. Once we get it, we should be pretty much ready to rip. There's a new, you see over there, somewhere over there. I bought a new a right rear, an ASC S2 right rear, which is what you're required to run for Now 600 and stuff. So I'm gonna get that mounted up, and we're just gonna run what we had for the other corners of the car and go rip. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave this video here. Sorry, like I said, that I didn't do the best job of documenting everything I was doing, but I was trying to rush to get the car ready, and ultimately it didn't matter anyway. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this here. So thanks guys, bye.